This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good afternoon, Laurie Seymour. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful afternoon?
I am doing just deliciously.
Oh, I like that. Deliciously. Well, I don't think I've ever heard that one before. But, ooh, deliciously. What part of the world are you in right now?
I am in Denver, Colorado.
Sweet. Tell us, which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this time, please?
I would say it is my being a transformational wisdom mentor, where I guide people to a direct experience of their own inner wisdom.
Ooh. Sounds intriguing. What does that look like? What does a session in that look like?
It can be a Turiya meditation session where I'm working with people's energy during the time of meditation. It can be a hands-on way of working with it called Turiya Touch, or it can be a mentoring session where we are working with principles of inner law to allow them to start to learn how to connect with their own inner voice and the majesty of that.
That's amazing. All right. Where is the best place for someone that's listening to connect with you?
The best place is at the Baca Journey. That's TheBaca Journey, all one word. That is my website, and it has all kinds of wonderful things to read and get inspired by.
What's Baca?
Baca is a place in southern Colorado. It is a place where a group of about 50 of us met regularly with a particular teacher over about 20 years, where we were doing our own inner research. And out of that came all of this work that I am teaching today.
Sounds as though you listen pretty deeply. Who did you learn that from, if I'm accurate at all?
I'd say you were accurate. I'd like to say you were accurate anyway. I learned it over a course of my whole journey, which has been with many, many different teachers, many different places, and primarily with a particular teacher named Dawn, who I studied with for over 20 years and worked very closely with her.
And then came the podcast, where the Wisdom Talk Radio podcast. Tell us about that, please.
Wisdom Talk Radio was started as a collaborative venture. There were 6 of us who wanted to use the podcast platform, each of us having our own individual expression, of course, and own individual work, but looking at things like conscious evolution, conscious relationships, conscious business, conscious living.
That's amazing. So is it an interview style podcast, or are you sharing on there?
It's both. Sometimes I'm doing interviewing, and sometimes each of us can be doing our own sharing as well.
Within the 6 of you, yeah?
Right. Okay. And sometimes it's the interviews are open. I do a lot of interviews of many different kinds of people.
That's wonderful. Is it a daily show, weekly, or monthly?
It is semi-weekly.
Okay.
It's been a little bit less fixed in the last while, but it's coming back to being weekly.
Yeah, it's cool. It happens. I think within the podcasting space, the good thing is the content's there, right? It's evergreen. So those that get in there, they're going to listen to the content. Yeah, it's great. It's great. All right. Tell me one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years, please.
I'd have to say that is because it really is just over 3 years. I teach a Turiya meditation live online class where people from all over the world can connect. They subscribe for a month. They come on as they can. But it's a way of having a meditation practice, of course, but it's a wonderful place for people to be able to have a deep meditation, have a teaching, receive a teaching, and to be able to share their experience with each other.
What does it make you feel? Has Teresa ever done this? I know we were introduced by Teresa de Gravois, right?
She has not. No, okay. She hasn't done it, but it makes me feel wonderful because it's a place for my own creative expression. I get to continue to grow that. And I'm deeply moved by people's experiences of their own inner connection, because that's what moves me.
That's good. I love your voice tones. It's really intriguing. It's like this alto just about to be high here, Yeah, it's wonderful. All right, my friend. Well, let's switch gears for a moment now. Let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Laurie, what is your earliest childhood memory?
Oh, well, the earliest childhood memory that I can tap into at all is my family moved into a new home. And I think I was probably about 3 years old. But I just remember the sensing of, there was a big, big mirror in the living room, took up one whole wall, and I remember that more than anything.
Why do you think so? Why do you think this memory is so clear?
I think it signaled some kind of a change in the living situation for my family, where I think we had been living with my mother's parents before that. And this was a start of a whole new adventure.
How do you see that memory connecting to who you are today, with that mirror looking at you there?
Well, from as early as I can really remember, what I've longed to do is to know about who I am, to know more about who I am. And that took me first into being a psychotherapist, but I went on from there.
That's pretty intriguing. Can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind with that memory?
Please.
I love the concept of so much of who we are is not just what we see in terms of our physical body, but what surrounds us. So I love the concept of the. Wow! It felt as though I hit I hit gold there. That was perfect, wasn't it? What was that? A phone ring?
You have the knack. You have the knack.
Was it the phone ringing or was it a message?
It was my phone ringing, which I'd forgotten to turn. It's the one thing I'd forgotten to do was turn down the volume on it. It's
okay. We're living life. Yeah, but that's really cool. I mean, it was like, that's
you
correct.
You timed it well.
Yeah, I love the concept of so much of what we are is what surrounds us as well. So the big mirror taking up the entire wall, the reflection would have been you, but then so many things that were in that space as well, contained in that mirror's reflection. So I just love that imagery.
Yeah, I love your reflection of that back to me.
Yeah, and pun intended, right? Reflection back at you. I love that. If we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
I think this is around that time. It was kind of early, very early Beatles. So I'm saying Yesterday.
All right. All right, my friend. Well, we've arrived at our destination. But before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready, Laurie?
Okay, I'm ready.
Laurie, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
I initiate others into doing Turea Touch, and that's where I see this happening. But there are more and more people that are coming for different dimensions of training, and I'm having the sensing that will be part of what that is.
Are you married?
I am.
Do you have children?
I have one from my first marriage, two that are my husband's children, and then he, with his two children, has 4 grandsons. Wow. So we have 4 grandsons together, which is quite amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
4 little guys.
Yeah. I think getting children from marriage is like ready-made children, which I think I marvel at the concept because it's ready-made, right? Like you didn't have to go through that route.
I did have to do my own.
Of course. Do you believe in God?
1,000%. I know God.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
I have a deep connection with. There are about 7 of us that we really are the inner circle.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No, I don't.
Or about 3 hours a week?
Oh, yes, probably so. Especially when there's a lot going on in the world that I want to know about.
All right. What about screen time, the phone and the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Well, I certainly try and keep it to less than 8, but I do so much of my work online that sometimes that's difficult.
All right. Laurie, if you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who you are, Laurie Seymour, what would you say that is?
I'd say that presence is alive and well in each of us, and we have access to moment guidance from that compass within, and that the journey of remembering who we really are is the most significant, powerful, and creative choice we get to make each day.
Love it. Laurie, this was such a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Just thank you so much. I look forward to continuing our connection in some way.
I appreciate that as well.
Yeah.
This was great.
I'd love to interview you for Wisdom Talk Radio.
Ooh,
if I might.
That sounds like fun. Yeah, let's do that. I mean, you do have a gun to my head. I mean, we're practically on the podcast, and what can I say? Would I say no? Yeah, I would have said no if I wanted to. Yeah, but definitely,
thank you.
Definitely,
thank you.
Would. Thank you for the invitation. Again, Laurie Seymour, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
This segment has been brought to you by Amazel Enterprise.